Well, hey gang, Jim Jacobus. Welcome to this week's Order Taker to Gladiator webinar. I'm really looking forward to our time together. I really like this subject matter. We've been teaching it in our workshops for years now, and I know that people find it very, very helpful. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with you guys today and kind of finding out a little bit more about some of your businesses as well. So I'm going to start off doing something a little different today. Always ask you guys where you're coming from, where you live and all that. And I'm going to jump past that today and ask you to do this. Try to get a sense of what different kinds of sales people are in. So do me a favor, also to acquaint you with the way of communicating with me, with us during the webinar here. Go down there to that question box, and that's where you can type in stuff, type in questions, comments, things like that in order to communicate during the webinar. So do me a favor, type in what do you sell or who do you work for. Give me some idea what it is that you sell, so I get an idea why you may be on these calls on a regular basis. So type those in there. I'm going to open up the box here so I can read what you're typing. Hopefully somebody will type in something. Okay, maybe a little lag in there. It always takes a little bit. Okay, we got industrial distribution. Okay, independent distributor for a network marketing company. Awesome. Good deal. Let's see what else we got here. Worth Revcar Industrial Fasteners. Okay, Doug, thanks. Appreciate that. Keynoter, Jack Sims, keynote speaker for Association Corporations. I knew we had a bunch of my speaker buddies on here. That's awesome. Self-employed. Let's see here. Talent management systems. All right, Claire. Awesome. Promotional products. Yeah, I knew we had a lot of promotional products folks in here. Industry I've had the pleasure of speaking to and work with through the years. Another person from Worth Industries. All right. Okay, I'm a speaker too, somebody said. Oh, afraid to admit that, huh? Nah, don't hesitate to admit that. I know you, by the way, you're a heck of a speaker. So cool. Anybody else want to give us a little quick note here, what you do? Okay, I guess not. Want to stay incognito or under the radar there. Okay, well good. That gives me a little bit of information to kind of help think about how we're doing some of these webinars and how we can make them a little more effective for you guys. That's always our goal here. So let me kick this one off, and we're going to start talking about a couple things in regards to 3 killer questions that we can ask to make every first meeting with a client home run. Just want to go through the kind of basics again. It may be your first time with us. I really get excited. The group is growing every time. We added another 20 or 25 people to the list just this month alone. So that's really exciting that the group's growing. So just in case you're the first time here, this is from our Order Taker to Gladiator webinar series. We'll be doing 2 a month for the entire year. They're totally free. We don't say anything, any of that good stuff. It's just a webinar series that we share with folks and have a good time doing. We always record these. It's our brand. It's our model of doing this. We record them. If you can't make it, you're going to get a copy of the recording anyway. Still like to have people on the live recording. It's a whole lot more fun that way. But at the end of the day, if you can't make it, you're still going to get a recording of that. We always put the PowerPoint slides with it, and other resources. You can follow us on Facebook. And I would ask you guys again, if you're on Facebook, next time you're on there, just search Order Taker to Gladiator. You'll find our Facebook page and hit the like button on that. The more people we have on there that like what we're doing, that hit that like button, the more the things that we post get posted for more people to see. And we want to continue to grow our group. We want to continue to provide this to a lot of folks out there. I think I have like 1,750 friends on Facebook, but if the things that we post don't get seen by anybody, then it doesn't really matter. So if you don't mind doing that, I'd really appreciate it. It would help us out. You can follow us on Twitter at Jim Jacobus, and on our blog, which is where we house everything. That's where we put all the replays and everything. That is ottgwebinars.wordpress.com. So don't hesitate to share this with other people, and let's get going. We're going to start off again with a poll, and I like to do these. They're kind of fun, get you guys engaged. And so I'm going to set up a poll here today. And the question is, what are the 2 most important objectives for a first meeting? Now, you get to click off 2 answers here, not just one. So you can click off 2 different answers here. Most important objectives for our first meeting, share with them the important factors about our company, qualify them, establish our brand as a trusted advisor, establish credibility with our experience, let them know how much we'd like to have their business. So let's see what you guys come up with here. We've got a good portion of folks voted. Actually, we got about a third of you voting. If everybody else will jump in here, we're going to let this go for a little bit longer. And okay. Oh, interesting. All right. I'm going to give you, let's see here. I'm going to give you 10 more seconds to vote. We've got most everybody voted. Got a few more lagging out there. But we'll close this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Closing that, and let's see here. Here's the results, guys. Guys and gals. I'm sorry if I need to make sure I say folks. 0 said share with them the important factors about our company. That's awesome. All right. 80% said qualify them. In other words, can we serve them, and are they the right client for us? Absolutely. Establish our brand as a trusted advisor. That's actually the second answer that I think is good here. 70% establish our credibility with our experience and knowledge. And that's not really a bad answer, but I think the first 2, qualify them and establish our brand as trusted advisor, are more important. And then looks like somebody clicked in, let them know how much we'd like to have their business, and certainly want to do that. But we're talking about what are the 2 most important, and they are qualify and establish our brand as a trusted advisor. Okay, and we could probably discuss that or argue about it all day long. But I am going to kind of talk about why these things are important here today, okay, and how we can go about doing this stuff. So a couple of things about our first meeting, all right? You got a little Boy Scout there, and we know that Boy Scouts are always be prepared. So a couple of things we want to make sure that we do before our first meeting. One is that we have a good plan in place. In other words, we talk about the steps to the sale: planning, prospecting, first impressions, qualifying, demonstrating, influencing, closing, and follow-up. Those are the steps to the sale. And if we've done a good job of planning our year, planning our month, planning our week, planning our day, that means that we're probably standing in front of a good, solid prospect, or dealing with a good, solid prospect to begin with. If we haven't done the first step, and we don't have a good plan about how we're going to grow our business, we wind up in front of prospects that are going to waste our time. So we've got a good plan. We're going to be talking to a good, solid prospect. And then the next thing is we want to make sure we've done our homework. I had the opportunity to visit with a client about 2 weeks ago about 20 days of sales training. And I went and to plan the meeting with the guy. I used everything we're talking about today. I just simply went to Google, though, and Googled the guy's name to find out a little bit about his background and where he came from. And I learned a little bit about the 2 companies he worked for before he came to the new company. I found out that he was relatively new at this company that I was calling on. So my guess was he had an agenda to change some things there with sales training. I also found out that he played baseball in college, and where he played baseball, and I even went back and looked up some of the records and learned a little bit about the guy. And then whenever I had the meeting with him, we were talking. He had a baseball on his desk, and I just happened, I said, "Hey, Mark, by the way, I happen to notice that you played baseball at South Alabama." And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "Obviously you did your homework." And I said, "Well, I think every good salesperson does do that." So I was modeling for him what I think good salespeople do as I was talking to him about doing his sales training. And it turns out later on he did let me know, and I asked him that he was impressed that nobody else that called on him. And gang, all of these people were trying to sell him on 20 days of sales training. Nobody else took the time to do their homework and find out anything about him. So before we had this meeting, we want to make sure we do our homework. We've got a good plan, and we're in front of a good, solid prospect. Okay? Now, a little bit about setting up the meeting. As we are talking to the prospect, we're putting the meeting together. The first thing is we don't ask for a meeting, all right? And let's do this. I'm gonna ask you a question here. By a show of hands, all right, and that's, you just raise your little hand deal there. by show of hands, how many of you need more meetings? You'd like to have more meetings in your life, okay? Let's see here. I don't see any hands going up. That's what I figured. All right. None of us need more meetings, and our clients, our potential clients, are the same way. They don't want any more meetings. So if we ask for a meeting, I'd like to meet with you and everything, there's just sort of a yuck feeling about that. So instead of asking for a meeting, what we want to do is we want to tell them that we'd like to visit with them, okay? We want to visit with them. Do you mind if I visit with you for about 15 minutes? That's what we're asking for. And then we're saying, I want to learn a little bit about you and your business, okay? I want to make sure we can meet your expectations, all right, which is a little unusual because I think most salespeople have the feeling that they can meet every prospect's expectations. So, they just assume that they can, but I want to make sure we can meet your expectations, all right? So I think that's a little bit different. And here's the one that I love. And guys, we got to learn how to say this, all right? We got to learn how to put this in our language and everything, and I'm going to use it a couple more times today, all right? I want to make sure your business is right for us. And the prospect's like, well, what do you mean? You make sure your business is right for us. Well, not every client's right for us. I'm very particular about who I do business with, and I want to make sure that I can serve them effectively, and I want to make sure that their business is good for us. And so I'm kind of telling them, I may not want your business, which, again, all of us want to be wanted, all right? So there's a little bit of psychology here. We're not going to ask for a meeting. We're going to ask for a visit. I want to learn about you and your business. I want to make sure we can meet your expectations, which are both kind of positive statements to the prospect. But then we say, and I want to make sure your business is right for us, which kind of makes the person, well, wait a minute. Of course my business is right for you. Everybody wants my business, don't they? Well, maybe not. So I like the psychology behind that, and I'm going to encourage you to use that as you move forward. And then the last thing is, so what would be a good time for you? Okay? So ask for a visit. We'll learn about you and your business. We'll make sure we meet your expectations. Make sure your business is right for my company. So when would be a good time to get together? Now, there may be a lot more conversation than that. It's maybe something that's done in an email. But this is the basics of how we want to set up the meeting. Okay? All right. We got a lot going on here, so I'm going to move pretty fast to it, but I will stop and let you ask some questions. Or if you have a question, just type it in the question box, and I'll keep track of them as they pop up and try to answer them as we go along. So we got a lot to cover today. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So we're going to follow up with an email immediately. Okay, as soon as they agree I can meet with you Friday at 1 o'clock, we're going to follow up with an email. We're going to thank them for the opportunity to visit with them. Jeff, I look forward to the opportunity to visit with you on Friday. Confirm the time and date. Confirm the link. I understand you got 15 minutes, so that's what we want to do in this immediate email follow-up. Okay, and then I'm going to set the agenda for the meeting. This is what I'd like to talk about whenever we get together. Now, if you remember, if you're with us back when we talked about the 8 steps to the sale, the last of those steps is follow-up. Okay, the last of those steps is follow-up, and the reason follow-up is important is that it closes the did I make a good decision loop. In other words, every time we close a client to do anything, they're always wondering, is that a good decision? Did I make a good decision on that? And our question, we close that loop by immediately following up, and in this case, we nailing down all the details, and that's very professional. I can tell you I have tons and tons of meetings. I have a lot of people that I work with, a lot of coaching clients we've got meetings set up with, and interestingly enough, very, very few of the people, the vendors and people I work with, had the habit of following up and nailing things down. So we begin to differentiate ourselves here and show the client that we're different if we do this very quickly and we do it very professionally. So we want to follow up with an immediate email to do all these things, but more than anything else, it closes that I make a good decision loop. All right, got a question. Can the visit be on the phone if distance is a challenge? Absolutely. These things would work as effectively on the phone as they will face-to-face. Good clarification there, Kurt. Thanks, bud. Appreciate that. So we want to set the agenda. Now, here's the agenda for our meeting, all right? This is how we want to set the agenda, okay? And I'll use Kurt as an example. Kurt, I've got 2 particular things for our meeting on Friday. The first thing is I have 3 questions that will help me determine if we can meet your expectations as a customer, and then again, here's that languaging again, and to make sure you're a good fit for us. All right? 3 questions I have that will help determine if we can meet your expectations and to decide if you're actually a good fit for our business. Okay, question number 1, what do you expect from the companies you do business with? Question number 2, what do you expect from the products and services you buy? And number 3, what are you going to expect from me as your sales rep? Okay, now this is in an email as part of that follow-up. And then the second thing, I want to be sure and answer any questions you might have about ABC Company, about the speaking work that we do, to answer your questions about our fasteners and our products and services. I want to answer any and all questions you might have. And the last thing is, again, I look forward to meet with you on Friday at 1 p.m. Okay? So this is setting the agenda for our time together. Okay? That make good sense? All right. Any questions? Yeah. There's a comment here. Most of us forget to ask what they want. Absolutely. Now, gang, I'm setting the agenda here, but the agenda is about, who's the agenda about? Okay, it's about them. All right, what do they expect? What do they want? Okay, that's what I want to find out. What are your expectations? And people love to talk about themselves, and we're going to use that as part of how we make this effective. And that's what I think is the key to all of this, is we're setting up the environment that what we care about is what matters to them. Sadly enough, and I've been training salespeople for a long, long time, we actually taught this in a big, huge training initiative we did for a client a while back, and we videoed all of the sales reps doing whatever they would normally do on a first call. We had them all come in and do that, and the funny thing was is that they only had to do the first 2 or 3 minutes of the call, and interestingly enough, 95% of the sales reps that came into that meeting with a client that was acting like a brand new first meeting, most of them were selling something to the client in less than 30 seconds. They had a brochure out. They were talking about their company. They were talking about their products. They were talking about their services. They were talking about their background, their experience. They were selling to the customer in less than 30 seconds. And again, that's what we want to get out of. Clients are tired of that. They want to be listened to. They don't want to be sold. They want to be collaborated with, and that's how we're going to use this particular methodology. So, all right, got the 3 questions. What do you expect from companies you do business with? What do you expect from products and services you buy? What do you expect from your sales rep? Now, you can customize this. You might say, what do you expect from the chemicals and products that you buy from folks like our company? What do you expect from the speaker that you hire? Okay, so you can customize this however you want to, but those are the gist of the 3 questions. All right, so that's the agenda. Right now, the meeting comes around, and again, I think it's a good idea to either shoot an email or make a quick call the day of, just to say, hey, Jim, I just want to make sure we're still on for, 1 o'clock this afternoon, and that we have 15 minutes together. Something like that is a good idea. Again, follow up, make sure we nail it down. That's real professional. So in the meeting, here are the steps that we want to go through during the meeting with our client. Okay, so first step, thank you, appreciate your time. Appreciate you having me here. Look forward to visiting with you. Want to make sure that you have 15 minutes. We still have that. And if a client says, no, I've only got 5 minutes, then we want to make sure we get the most out of those 5 and set up for another meeting. But the last thing we want to do is expect that we've got 15 minutes and then, only have 10. So we want to confirm the time frame. I understand we got 15 minutes. That accurate? Yes, it is. Again, I hope you got that email. I really got 3 questions for you today, and I certainly want to answer all the questions you have. Is that okay with you as far as you're concerned from an agenda standpoint? I'm going to confirm that. And then we're going to go into Columbo mode. And I got to thinking that, I'm getting a little older, and we have a lot of young Gen X, Gen Y kind of salespeople on some of these calls. You guys may not even know who Columbo was. All right. Raise your hand if you don't even know who Columbo is, and make me feel old. Go ahead and raise your hand if you don't even know who Columbo is. Oh, good. Looks like everybody at least knows who Columbo is. That's good. I feel better. All right. Columbo was, if you remember, was a detective, and he had this amazing way of asking questions to find out what was going on. All right, so that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm saying. We're going to go into question mode. It's that's funny. It's yogurt, right? Good. Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the levity there. That's good. Yes, it is yogurt, but it's also a detective. All right, so we're going to go into Columbo mode, which means we're going to do more asking and listening than we're going to do talking. All right, so first question. And again, you can frame these however you want to. I kind of like to play around with them a little bit. And let's see here. I'm going to use, let's see here, Jeff. All right, Jeff Clinton on the call today. And I'd say, Jeff, let me ask you a question. When you're deciding if you want to do business with a new company like mine, like Acme, what about that company matters most to you? All right, what do you think about, or what do you consider when you're considering the company you do business with? Okay, and now, just going to tell me, well, I think, it's nice that they're stable. I know that they're dependable. I think it's good that the company's, got multiple locations because we're scattered all over the country. Whatever it is, he's going to be telling me what kind of things matter to him as a buyer. All right, yeah, and Jeff's actually typing in integrity, service. All right, those are the things that are important. In a minute, I may actually open up the mic and role play with one of you guys. We haven't done that yet, but I may give that a shot here in just a minute. So be prepared. I might ask any of you to do this. All right, so we're asking that question, and then the second question is, what are some of the key factors in how you and ABC Company go about evaluating the products and services that you buy? Or how do you evaluate those? All right, now, I mean, we can, if you do 10 of these, the answers are all going to be somewhat the same. All right, but we're asking these as if we've never heard the answers before. We want to listen to what the customer's saying. He might say, well, obviously quality is really important. I need to buy green products because our company's got a big green initiative. I'm looking for some, for you speaker guys, I'm looking for a program that's going to deliver results. We want to listen to what matters to them about the product or the service that we're selling. Again, this is going to give us a lot of information, and I'm going to come back to this in just a minute. One of the things I hope they say, all right, I pray they say price is a big deal. Price, really important. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a second. All right, and at the end of the day, what are the qualities that are consistent in the sales reps that you value the most? What are the qualities in the sales reps that you value the most? Now, I actually wrote this question, and I was looking back at it. And I wrote the question, what are the qualities that are consistent in the sales reps you like doing business with? Okay, and then I realized that's not as strong as I'd like to be. I don't care if they like doing business with me. I want them to value doing business with me. So I actually changed that language to say, what are the qualities that are consistent in the sales rep you value the most? And again, we're doing that branding. We're doing that value branding, be using that kind of language. Okay, so those are the three questions. Again, we've kind of gone over them a couple times, but I wanted to reiterate because I think they're really important in how we do it. So now we ask the questions, and a good series of questions look like this. We don't just check off the boxes. It's not, and I've seen this done when we train this. We've done the training on this, and the sales reps will come in and sit down and do a role play, and they'll go, well, Jeff, tell me about the companies you like to do business with. And he'll answer and say, okay, what about the products and services that how do you evaluate that? And they'll answer it, and they'll say, hey, what are you looking for from me? And they'll go, I want you to be hardworking, honest, knowledgeable, integrity. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's not what we're talking about here, all right? These are questions that are designed to create a more in-depth conversation with somebody. So we're not just checking off the boxes on these three questions. So we ask the question, we listen, they respond, and let's say that, Jeff says, well, I'm really looking for companies that have high integrity, all right, companies that have been around in business for a long time. And I'll say, tell me a little bit more about that. Who are some of the folks that would be a good example of that? Help me understand what you mean by, okay, what do you like most about XYZ company? All right, I compete with them all the time. I'm always curious, what do you like about those guys? Okay, and is there something you wish they would do differently? Okay, in a perfect world, what would every company do that would make you happy? And a lot of times when we ask that magic wand question or perfect world question, they would, they'll say something sort of jokingly, but there's always a little hidden information in there. It, if you chose to do business with somebody new like us, and again, we're not there yet, but if you did, what do you consider a personal home run when you choose to do business with a new company? So it's about asking a question that opens a door and then asking follow-up questions to learn more about why that really matters to that customer. What is it that they value? Now, quick little note in here. When we're wanting to find out what they don't like about a competitor, okay, we need to ask what they did like first. And like I said, I know we got a couple of speakers on here. I'll give you an example. I always ask the client, who are some of the speakers that your audience is just absolutely loved? I mean, who do they love? And they might say, well, they liked, Kurt Tuford, and they liked Jack Sims, and they liked so-and-so. What was it they liked about them? What was it that really kind of, got their attention? Well, they were really high energy, and they had great content. They connected with them, and awesome. I appreciate that. That kind of gives me an idea what you're looking for. And without giving me names, what are some of the things that speakers have done that your audience didn't like so much? All right. Now, I don't ask them to throw anybody under the bus. And let's see, for you guys out there with worth, okay, I might say, who are some of the people that you depend on to get your fasteners from? Well, we like so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. What do you like about those guys? Well, we like that their deliveries are on time. We like the fact that they're very competitive in pricing. We like their quality. Awesome. That helps me a lot. Without throwing anybody under the bus, what are some of the mistakes that company has made that perhaps caused you to not want to do business with them in the past? And again, sometimes they'll tell you who they were. They'll go, I don't mind telling you. Joe Blow over there at Smith Company, those guys couldn't, they were terrible. They never could get anything right. So we don't have to ask, but the key here is if we ask for the positives first, then they'll let us ask in a tactful way for the things that they weren't so happy about. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Is that good? Let me jump down there. Guys, jump down to that little question box and tell me if we're on track right now. How we doing? We're giving you some good information here. Is this working for you? As Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for you? Good deal. Oh, I like that one. Preach on. All right. Okay. Any questions you have right now about this so far? All right. Any questions? All right. Well, let me jump on to our next slide here. And this is one of my favorite slides, guys. And so many times we avoid this, and I think we just need to meet it head on. All right. I told you, I pray they say something about price. Okay. I pray they say something about price. And I am looking forward to that because I want to get some clarity here about price right up front. So let's see. Oh, yeah, Kurt, good point. Make sure you're taking notes so you can write down these insights whenever you're talking to folks. Or you talk about taking notes on the webinar. Okay, let's see here. All right, I got a lot of buddies on here, but I don't necessarily want to do work with a buddy. Somebody raise your hand if you'd be willing for me to open up your mic and you can play like a customer. And I'm really looking for somebody that sells an industrial product or sells something along that line. Who wants to volunteer? Yeah, nobody wants to get on the mic, do they? Okay, if not, I'm going to call on somebody I know. So can I get a volunteer? All right, Doug. There we go. Hey, Doug, Jim Jacobus, can you hear me okay? Awesome.
I can hear you fine, Jim.
Good deal. Your voice sounds good too. Doug, what do you sell?
Industrial fasteners.
Okay. Are you with Worth, I guess?
I am.
Okay, good. Tell me a little bit about the fasteners that you sell.
Well, different types of things that would go into our customers' assemblies, not just fasteners, but other assorted items. I thought that would be the easiest way to explain it.
Okay.
Nuts, bolts, screws, things like that.
Okay. Awesome. A little known fact here, I grew up working part-time for Dallas Nut and Bolt back when I was a high school kid. and I loaded those kegs up with nuts and bolts back in their manufacturing deal. So I know a little bit about that stuff, but not very much. So I do know they're heavy, and it's really important that people get the right kind of fasteners for their work. So, Doug, I'm going to let you play the customer, okay? And
Okay.
you go ahead and you be as hard on me as you want to. And I'm going to ask you the question, what's important in the products and services that you buy? And you can just say, lead off with, Jim, price is critical to me, and then we'll just kind of play it from there and see how it goes, okay? You up
Okay.
for that?
Fair enough.
All right, Doug, when you
I
look
am.
at, oh, I'm afraid now. It's too much enthusiasm, Doug, that makes me nervous, okay? Doug, when you look at the products and services, you know, from the fastener companies that you buy, what's really important to you? What matters to you the most?
Well, Jim, I guess I'd have to say that, you know, I think quality should be a given. And if you're out there, you're going to have to give us the right service. So, you know, really the only way that you could possibly get in here is to give me a better price.
Okay. Well, first thing, I appreciate that. I know, I mean, in our business, in your business, I mean, even at home today, things are tight. Everybody's looking for ways to save money. So if I talk to 10 guys like you this week, I'm going to have 10 of them tell me the same thing. So do me a favor, Doug, help me understand, how do you go about evaluating price? I mean, what all goes into that for you? Is it just strictly apples to apples dollars, or does anything else go into that for you?
Well, you know, people talk to me about the soft costs of things, you know, the handling, shipping, how often we have to buy it, invoicing, things like that. But, you know, I'm really looking for the hard cost price.
Okay. All right.
What the price of the part costs.
Okay. All right. And typically, how many folks do you ask for a price? Are you checking with 10 people, or are you checking with 2 or 3?
I have three normally use and new company,
Okay. The computer absolutely garbled all of that. I didn't hear a thing. Do you mind repeating that again for me?
Sure. Maybe I'll talk for now. Can you hear me okay?
No, something on that end's kind of garbling it all and everything. Well, again, I appreciate that. As long as, you know, quite frankly, it's not our business, Doug. You know, if somebody's going to put an RFP out there with 10 companies on it, you know, that really doesn't work very well for us, because, you know, we really value some things. I've been in the business now for about 20 years. I work with a lot of clients like yourself that are doing high-end manufacturing. I know how important it is that everything is to spec, and so, you know, we put a little more into it. Certainly, I would tell you, if you've got those kinds of items where that matters to you, we probably are going to be very competitive. We haven't stayed around for as long as we have without doing that. But if it's just purely, you know, kind of a government bid deal, I'm not your guy, quite frankly. So would it make sense to you for us to go ahead and at least talk a little bit more, or is that pretty much all you need from me today?
Well, I guess I would listen to what you have to say.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate that. Like I said, I didn't hear that last part, but I just took a guess at what you said. Quick question, Doug. Just from your standpoint, how does that sound or feel to you? Since I've got you open mic here, how does that sound or feel to you?
Well, you didn't try to challenge me on price.
Okay.
And so you didn't back me into a corner, which would make me want to fight with you over that.
Okay.
And you relaxed me a little bit.
Good. How did it feel to you when I said, you know, you may not be our customer?
That took the pressure off of the situation.
Okay. Did it challenge you to want to be our customer?
Well, I would say, yeah, well then, you know, why are we talking if you're not really interested in me being a customer of yours? And probably well, I guess I might be reading into it, but I'm thinking that they do know there are more things than just the hard cost of something.
Sure they do. Absolutely. And a lot of times, though, that's what they lead out with first. And so we're kind of probing into that to figure out where we're at with them, and how we can literally get clear about how do they evaluate stuff. Sometimes, again, if we're talking software, things like that, we can ask them, are you just evaluating the hard costs right up front? Are you looking at, cost of ownership over a period of 5 years? What else is going into all of this so that we can find out more? But even in this case, we can say, I know that meeting specs are critical. I know that knowledge of the industry is critical. I know that if you have a problem with something we delivered to you, you're going to want me to be there for you. So there's a lot of things that go into this that we can use from a price standpoint. So Doug, thanks for being willing to do that, and I like that. So somebody said, yeah, use Jason. He's a good buyer. That's a joke. We're talking about my son playing a buyer in one of our programs before. So, okay. All right. Question surprised me a little bit. All right, good. So does that make sense to everybody? I hope that just a quick little deal there. I'm hoping they say something about price. If there's an objection out there that people normally have with our business, I'm hoping they say something about it. And if they don't, if Doug hadn't said something about price in his statement, I would have answered his question to begin with. I would have probed a little bit more, but I would have said, Doug, how do you guys go about evaluating price? All right. And we talk about handling objections after a presentation. I'm a big proponent of handling presentation before, handling the objection before the presentation even comes up. So I think this is a way that we can head off objections in our very first meeting, or at least get an idea of where that objection is going to come from. So why is that important when it comes to products you buy these days? Price. Inside my head, I'm going, yippee! All right, because I want to learn what Doug's evaluation of pricing is. I'm gonna learn what that is. Okay, I'm gonna validate his response, and if he knows, I said, Doug, I understand that. If I talk to 10 people this week, like it's going to tell me that price is important, so it's telling them that I'm not afraid of the price. I need to be able to validate their response. That our audio may be down a little bit. Anybody else experiencing that, or is it just a note it's giving me that's not accurate? You guys hearing okay? All right, let me know if you're not. All right. Now, last thing, closing the meeting. Thank you for helping me understand more about you and ABC Company. Ask them what questions do you have about Acme. I can answer for you. I'm going to respond as long as they have questions. I'm going to suggest that we move to the next logical steps at the customer's pace. Remember, that's our close. We talked about closing last webinar. Closing is simply moving to the next logical step at the customer's pace, and based upon what we've talked about, I'm going to suggest those things. And my goal in the first meeting is to have the opportunity to come back and do a presentation about how I feel like we may be able to serve that client most effectively. That's usually my goal. Now, we may wind up with more than that, but that's my goal. We taught this in a training session here not too long ago, and one of the guys sent me an email that said he went into a visit with a customer that was scheduled for 15 minutes, and he was there for over 2 hours. That's what will happen when we ask questions. If we go in there talking and we're throwing stuff up against the wall, praying something sticks, praying something out of our shotgun gets their attention, we can be out of there in 15 minutes. All right, that's probably a good way to know that we're not asking enough questions if we're out of there in 15 minutes. But if we do a good job of asking questions, we can be there for quite a while. So I'm getting some messages that we're having some problems with sound. I'm hoping that's gone away. All right, but here's how I'm going to close the meeting, all right? I'm going to close the meeting with this. Doug, first thing, I appreciate your time. My guess is, in your position, you see people every day that want to do business with you. Do you mind if I ask you one more question? And Doug's going to go, no, that's fine. What is that? And that last question is going to be, what's the key difference in those people that you choose to do business with and those you don't? All right, what is the key difference in the people you choose to do business with and those you don't? And for those of you on the line that are speakers, always ask the question, what's the difference in the speaker that you're going to hire to stand in front of your audience this year and the 20 people that are asking to be able to do that you're not going to allow the opportunity? What's the difference in who you're going to choose to do business with and the ones that you don't? All right, and that's going to give us a huge heads up on what's going to matter most to this client. Okay? Again, we've got to learn how to ask that question and do it in a way that's very straightforward, and it will give us an answer that gives us something we can really leverage in moving forward. So follow up the meeting. Always send a thank you note. All right, I think we talked about this in an early webinar. Go to the store, buy a bunch of thank you notes, put them in the envelopes, go ahead and put stamps on them, and keep them in your briefcase so that you can write a thank you note and drop it in the next mailbox that you pass by. So you want to make sure that you have those notes with you. Okay? No, that's not true. I get these notes from you guys that know me out there. Send a thank you email. Okay? All right. Talk about the next steps that you agreed to in the meeting. Okay, here are the next steps. Do them as quickly as you possibly can, and then use this pattern moving forward for more meetings to the extent that it makes sense. All right. You get to know a customer you've been doing this 5 years. You don't have to send them this stuff every time, but you want to do it consistently enough that it really kind of marks you as a professional. So after we do that, here's some reasons why it works well. Actually, let's do this. I want you guys to type in what you like about this, okay? Fortune is in the follow-up. Yeah, what is it you like about this? I'm hoping something. Okay, if you're going to use this, what parts of this do you like? What is it doing that's going to differentiate us from our competitors? It's scripted, okay, you bet. Draws out the customer's thoughts, gets their ideas, okay, good. Predictable process, systematic. I love it. They talk, we listen, absolutely. Okay. Let's see here. Every customer wants to talk about themselves and their company, absolutely. Good deal. Predictable process. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Again, one thing I would add to that, this will differentiate us from a lot of people out there who don't use this kind of stuff. Here's somebody wrote, shifts the focus. Their barriers come down, and they want to come to us with what they want. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Dale. Good deal. No hang-ups when they're speaking. Okay. Good deal. Establishes trust. Awesome. All right. Well, here's just some quick stuff. Here's one thing I think is really important. We look like a pro. All right. We look like a pro. We're not flying by the seat of our pants. We're not talking, just hoping something sticks. I think this really sets us aside. This is a visit, not a meeting, which means there's minimum risk. All right. 15 minutes. Anybody can put up with any sales rep for 15 minutes as long as they have that out. But again, you'll find out that the 15 minutes regularly turns into 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, even 2 hours. So they've got minimum risk if we're going to have a visit for only 15 minutes. There's a real clear agenda, right? They know what we're going to talk about, no surprises. It's all about them, all right? This method's all about them. People love to talk about themselves. And at the end of it all, we are armed with tons and tons of information about how we can serve them or how we can sell them something. And I tend to look at the idea of this is how we can serve them. All right, so we got tons of information, and at the end of the day, we separate ourselves from the order takers. We draw a clear line between us and those folks out there that are order takers or that are hacks in the sales world. Okay? All right. Quickly. If it runs beyond 15 minutes, do we continue? Absolutely. And Doug, if you notice it's going on past 15 minutes, you might ask them, sorry, we're past 15 minutes. Do you mind if we continue? You might ask that. Or if it's just rolling, you just let it roll. And at the end of it, you could say something like this. Doug, I appreciate your time. I know we only talked about 15 minutes, and you very graciously given me 45. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I hope it's been as valuable for you as it's been for me. So you can acknowledge the fact that they gave us more time with a simple statement like that. If you notice it's running past, you might ask permission to continue. We might remind them they have another meeting at that point in time, though. But I tell you, if it's rocking and rolling, just keep going. All right, and then I kind of feel like if it's not, they'll tell us. They'll go they'll tell us what's going on. So, all right. Okay. So let's see here. Let me get to the next slide. Oh, I wanted to do this one more time. I did it last week, and we're getting ready to kick this thing off. We are starting up our second coaching group beginning May 1st. That's the start date, you guys. Once you had emailed me about it. A quick little overview. It's going to be limited to 15 people. We'll do 3 webinars a month. Quick note, somebody said, what if I can't make a morning webinar? Well, what we decided to do is the webinars that we do for the coaching group, we'll do one in the morning, one in the afternoon. If you can't make one, make the other. If you want to make both of them, you're welcome to. You get 90 minutes of personal coaching a month and a full A players assessment. The cool thing is, and I really enjoy this, you can text me, call me, email me if you got a coaching question. You're getting ready to make a call, you need some help. I find that our coaching clients really love that stuff. At the end of the day, if you don't like it, you get 100% money back guarantee. A lot of you have asked me about this coaching program and asked me to get this thing started up for a second group. And so I do have that available. If you're interested in that, I'm going to bring this to our Order Taker to Gladiator group first before I go out to the rest of our database, and I'm going to fill those 15 spots out of this group first. So if you're interested in it, shoot me an email, give me a buzz. Here's our contact information. If you'd like to have a coach but can't afford personal coaching, this is a great way to have somebody come alongside you, help you grow your business, somebody that'll care about you, and help make a difference in all of your success out there in the sales business. So thanks a lot for joining us this week. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate, email me, call me. There's our contact information. If you're interested in the coaching group, call me, and I'll gladly answer whatever questions you have. I appreciate you guys being with us, and we'll see you in April. It'll be the second week in April. Let's see here. I'll make sure that's not a question I need to answer. All right, hey, guys, I appreciate it. All those thank yous coming in. All right, you guys have a great time selling out there. Best of success to you.